Let me ask you something. If I told you there were two people, call them Marcus and David, both 32 years old, both living in the same city, both earning exactly $75,000 a year, would you assume they're in roughly the same financial position? Most people would say yes. Same age, same income, similar lifestyle probably. But here's what's actually true. Marcus has $47,000 in savings and investments. His net worth is growing every single month. He's on track to retire comfortably before 60, maybe earlier. David has $1,200 in his checking account. He's carrying $14,000 in credit card debt. And despite earning a solid salary for nearly a decade, he genuinely has no idea where his money goes. Same salary, completely different financial realities. So what separates them? What's the number that actually tells you where someone is headed financially? It's not their salary, it's not their credit score, it's not even how much they have in the bank right now. It's a number that most people have never calculated. Most schools never teach it, and most financial advice completely ignores it. Once you understand this number, you will never look at your finances the same way again. Here's the thing about salary. We're completely obsessed with it. It's the first thing people ask about when comparing jobs. It's how we measure career success. It's the number that makes us feel like we're winning or losing at life. And look, income matters. Nobody's saying it doesn't. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your salary tells you how much money enters your life. It tells you almost nothing about whether any of it stays. Think about how many people you know who earn good money, really good money, and still feel broke at the end of every month. They're not irresponsible, they're not reckless, they just never learned to track the number that actually matters. The financial world has a word for this number. It's called your savings rate, and it is, without exaggeration, the single most powerful predictor of your financial future. So what exactly is your savings rate? It's simple. It's the percentage of your income that you keep, save, or invest every month. If you earn $4,000 a month after taxes, and you manage to save or invest $400 of it, your savings rate is 10%. If you save $1,200, your savings rate is 30%. That's it. No complicated formula, no financial degree required. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people think the path to wealth is earning more, and so they spend their 20s and 30s chasing promotions, side hustles, and raises, believing that the next income level is where the real financial progress begins. But studies on financial behavior show something that completely contradicts that belief. People who consistently save 20 to 30% of a modest income almost always build more wealth over their lifetime than people who save 5% of a high income. Let that sit for a second, because that means Marcus, our guy with $47,000 growing in the background, isn't winning because he got lucky or because he earns more. He's winning because of a percentage, a habit, a number he decided to protect every single month. And David? David's problem isn't his salary. David's problem is that every time his income grew, his spending grew with it. His savings rate never moved. Now, here's where the savings rate goes from interesting to genuinely life-changing. There's a concept in personal finance called the financial independence timeline, and it's built entirely around your savings rate, not your income. Here's the basic idea. If you save 5% of your income, you're spending 95%. To maintain that lifestyle without working, you'd need to have saved up roughly 20 to 25 years worth of expenses. At 5%, that takes about 66 years. 66 years! Most people won't even reach that point before retirement age. Now push that savings rate to 20%. Suddenly, you're on track in roughly 37 years. At 30%, you're looking at about 28 years. At 50%, around 17 years. The numbers shift dramatically, and the variable doing all the work isn't the size of your paycheck, it's the percentage you choose to protect. This is why a teacher who saves 35% of a $52,000 salary can legitimately reach financial freedom before a doctor who saves 4% of a $280,000 salary. That's not a hypothetical. Financial researchers have documented exactly this pattern over and over. Your savings rate is your real financial speedometer, and most people don't even know they have one. Now, here's the part that most financial advice glosses over. Knowing this doesn't automatically fix it, because your savings rate isn't just a math problem, it's a psychology problem. There's a phenomenon called lifestyle inflation, and it's the silent destroyer of savings rates everywhere. Here's how it works. You get a raise, you feel great, you deserve something for the hard work, right? So you upgrade the apartment, nicer car, better restaurants, a few more subscriptions. Nothing extravagant, just a natural upgrade to match your new income level. And suddenly, despite earning more than ever, you're saving the exact same dollar amount as before. Your savings rate didn't move. It might have even dropped. This isn't weakness, this isn't failure. It's what behavioral economists call the hedonic treadmill, the deeply human tendency to adjust our expectations upward every time our circumstances improve. We get more, we want more, we feel the same. The problem is that the hedonic treadmill feels completely normal from the inside. You don't feel like you're making a mistake. You feel like you're enjoying the results of your hard work. And that feeling is exactly what makes lifestyle inflation so expensive. The people who build real wealth aren't necessarily the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who learned to interrupt that cycle, to let their savings rate rise before their lifestyle does. There's a phrase that shows up in almost every serious wealth-building framework: pay yourself first. It sounds simple, it is simple, but psychologically it flips everything. Instead of saving whatever's left after spending, you save your target percentage the moment money arrives, and then you build your lifestyle around what remains. It removes the decision from a moment of temptation and turns it into a system. And systems beat willpower every single time. So what do you actually do with this? 3 things. First, calculate your savings rate right now. Take what you saved last month, divide it by what you earned after taxes, multiply by 100, that's your number. Most people discover it's somewhere between 0 and 8%. That's not a judgment, that's just your starting point. Second, set a target. Personal finance researchers generally suggest that a 20% savings rate is where meaningful wealth building begins. If you're nowhere near that, don't panic. Even moving from 4% to 10% is a transformation. Progress beats perfection. Third, automate it before you can spend it. Set up an automatic transfer to savings or investments on the same day you get paid. Not the end of the month, not when it's convenient, the day you get paid. This one change, removing the decision entirely, is responsible for more financial success stories than any budgeting system ever created. And here's something important to understand. You don't need to be earning $100,000 to start this. The savings rate framework works at every income level. A 20-year-old earning $35,000 who commits to a 15% savings rate will statistically build more long-term wealth than a 35-year-old earning $90,000 who's never thought about this number at all. Because time and consistency are the actual engines of wealth, and your savings rate is what keeps those engines running. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. Every financial decision you make, every purchase, every upgrade, every time you choose to save or spend is either growing your savings rate or shrinking it. There's no neutral move. And unlike your salary, which depends on your employer, the economy, the job market, and 100 factors outside your control, your savings rate is almost entirely yours to determine. Marcus and David didn't end up in different financial realities because life was fair to one and unfair to the other. They ended up there because one of them was tracking a number the other one didn't know existed. Now you know it exists. The question isn't whether your savings rate matters. The question is, what is yours right now, and what are you going to do about it? Because the version of you 10 years from now is being built on the answer to that question today.